Hi everyone, hello dear Super Family. This is Super Chat with Mr.'s 2024 Finals, and tonight I'll be joined by our top speakers. Let's welcome them together: Mr. Thailand, Mr. Mexico, Mr. Jamaica, Mr. South Africa, Mr. Indonesia, Mr. Netherlands, and Mr. Venezuela. Our finalists will have to answer 3 identical questions, and you guys, please take a chance to vote for them, support them, and help them make it to the top of the Mr. Supranational 2024 experience. The voting link is in the description box below this video. Here we go. Question number 1. Show Mr. Supranational Thailand. Great to meet you in person finally in
Great
the
to
Super
see
Chat
you.
finals, and congratulations.
Thank you.
So here comes your first question. What is the difference between a good and a bad person?
A good and a bad person, I would say that a good person will not only think about themselves. Yeah, because we are living with others. And since I got here, I really see that more clearly now because we are not doing the things for our own anymore. We are here, even though I am representing Thailand, my whole country is putting the expectation on me. But when I get here and I get to know real people from 30, 40 countries, so I feel like not only thinking about myself and thinking about others as a team, that is one of the quality for the good people so that we can make this work. Thinking about yourself would not take us anywhere.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Brilliant. Said, Mr. Supranational Mexico, nice to see you in person, and congratulations on making it to the
Nice to
Super
see you
Chat
again.
finals. Yeah. So here's your first question.
Okay.
What is the difference between a good and a bad person?
I think we are not bad or good person. I think we have bad actions or good action. Most some person have most or bad actions or decisions, but maybe for example, you can do something bad like rape or that things that are so bad. Or maybe that person can be a good father with his child and is kind with his child is a very good father. So depends the point of view, you know. It to me is just bad actions or good action, not persons, because we can choose like a person what do, you know.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting opinion. Thank you, Said.
Think.
Mr. Supranational South Africa, Fazil, congratulations on making it to the Super Chat finals.
Thank you so much, Ivan. I'm excited to be here and to see you in person.
In person finally, yeah.
You look even more handsome.
You too. Okay. Question number 1. In your opinion, what is the difference between a good and a bad person?
A good and a bad person. I think it's such an interesting thing to think about it because when you grow up, you think that bad people are like this and good people are like this, and it's this hard, fast rule. I do think that it's all perspective because one person's good might be somebody else's bad. But in general, if I were to say, how do you differentiate in the greater scheme, it's people who go out there and don't think about themselves only, but also include others, because then that means that other people are why they're doing certain things. And those people then have that perception of them doing good in communities, bringing good things about in communities, and so you can see the effect that they have. And sometimes a bad person is somebody who insulates themselves and sometimes only thinks about the things that they want, and that makes other people, unfortunately, get the bad end of the stick. So good and bad can be a bit wishy-washy, but if you're going out there thinking about the community, you generally always do the morally correct things, the things that are seen as right, and I say that that makes you a great person.
Thank you, Fazil. Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Jermaine, Mr. Supranational Jamaica, nice to see you in person finally.
Finally,
So you ready?
I am.
Question number 1. What, in your opinion, is the difference between a good and a bad person?
Wow, that's an interesting question. In my opinion, what's the difference between a good and a bad person is that this may be relative to each and everybody. So everybody might have a different perspective. A good person is someone who endeavored to give of themselves the best way possible that they can, which involve helping persons and just being there. A bad person endeavors to do the opposite, which is really to take advantage of people, to hurt people. So the difference between a good and a bad person is the intention behind the behavior. Because sometimes we also misunderstand person that we categorize as bad, because it might have been that their situation in which they grew up in, or circumstances which fuel their behavior. So we have to be kind of careful too on how we quote unquote identify persons. But at the end of the day, we look on the intention, and I believe that our intentions, it separates us, be it good or bad. And that's my thought. Thank you.
Oh, interesting. Thank you, Romain. Mrs. Indonesian, Daniel, welcome to Poland.
Thank you, Ivan.
So here comes your first question. In your opinion, what is the difference between a good and a bad person?
Thank you for your question. So I think it's very general, and this question is people have their own opinion and point of view how to tell that person is good or bad. But I think for me, if they're a good person, they will do something good for themselves and not hurting other people. And bad person, maybe he's not doing any like impactful or positive thing for themselves, and maybe they can harm others. But the underlying key is actually the good person always think what benefit that they can get, but not to be like with ego, but for benefits for themselves, for others, for people around them, for the communities, and that's how I define good or bad people.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you, Ivan.
Mrs. French Netherlands, question number 1. In your opinion, what is the difference between a good and a bad person?
The difference between a good and a bad person, in my opinion, is someone who can look in a mirror. A good person, in my opinion, can look in a mirror, can see his own mistakes, and can see his own behavior. A bad person only is pointing at other people, and because of that, he doesn't see how he's coming over or how his behavior is affecting other people. And I think that is the main difference between a good and a bad person.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Supranational Venezuela, congratulations on making it to the Super Chat finals.
Thanks.
Good luck. And question number 1. In your opinion, what is the difference between a good and a bad person?
It's about the choices, because sometimes we all have like these bad feelings or this bad news, and we understand that we don't have like the best day ever. It's not happening. Even when we try like have a nice attitude and be nice to people, sometimes it gets difficult than others, and the decision is what it like becomes real, you know. So I always like say to people who ask me that, because I work with kids, and they all make I have like a fight with this little kid and another one, and like what I tell them is like, it's up to you. If you had a fight, you do something, regret it, talk about it, and after that, if you took the right decision, you feel better. So the difference between a bad and a good person is the final decision, what you do, not what you think. Is that's we are human, we all have that mistakes. So that's for me the difference.
Thank you, Marco. Brilliant. Let's thank our candidates for their brilliant answers. And before we move on to question number 2, take a second to subscribe to Miss and Mr. Supranational official YouTube channel and give this video a like. Thank you. And here we go. Question number 2. Joe, Mr. Supranational Thailand, question number 2 for you. What is the difference between a human right and a privilege?
Human rights is something that everybody should be able to access to. It's a minimum bar, it's a standard. Because less than that, I don't think we would be, at the level that we can be happy about life. But if we can reach that point of the human rights, at least we are protected, we are respected, and we are recognized maybe by law in your country and internationally. But privilege is something that is more than that. And that is something that we have to work on as human beings, because like in my country, there are so many problems about privilege too. How can we cope with that is the thing that maybe us as individual and our government have to come together and work together so that we have both human rights and also the privilege for everybody too.
Thank you, Joe. Mr. Supranational Mexico, Said, question number 2 for you. What is the difference between a human right and a privilege?
I think human rights is for develop a better society, equality among us to everyone around the world, among the people. Is basic. Is so basic to have a good develop in quality of life, dignity life, vida digna, dignity life, and that is about human rights. And privilege is something about you can use to have a better position in society. I think it's most about economical situation of the people in society and have better opportunities if you have more money, for example, or better social status in the society. So that is a privilege. And to me, the correct way is I don't care about the economical situation of the people. We need to have the same opportunity to everyone. That's it's about human rights to defend and respect that opportunity to everyone. Don't care about differences in economic situations.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Said. Okay. Question number 2, Mr. Supranational South Africa. What, in your opinion, is the difference between a human right and a privilege?
I think a human right is something that is essential. So things like food, being able to get education, all these are essential to a great human existence. Ability to have freedom of speech and to go out into the world and have the liberty to live the life that you want. I feel that that is the baseline for any human to have a proper existence. A privilege is something that might be given to you that can maybe be taken away. Things that might elevate you or give you an advantage, so that can be bestowed upon you. So sometimes those tend to be able to be taken away or given, but a human right is something that, regardless of where you are, legally cannot be kind of disputed.
Thank you, Rizal.
Thank you so much.
Jermaine, Mr. Supranational Jamaica. What is the difference between a human right and a privilege?
Wow. Okay. All right. So, human right and a privilege. All right. So we know we are all from different countries and different cultures. So we were born into this life, and we have grown up to learn that there are certain things that as human we are privileged to, or we have a right to. We have a right to speak. We have a right to exist. We have a right to life. A privilege is something that we're not deserving of. So if it is that it's not readily there for us, it's not readily accessible. So I believe that it is a privilege when we find ourselves in a space where we are able to access this opportunity. For example, Mr. Supranational competition, it's a privilege. It's definitely not a right, because not everybody probably can find themselves on this platform because the opportunity has not presented itself. So a human right is something that we have all access to. We have the right for food, clothing, and shelter in order to survive. Privilege is an opportunity that we get that is not accessible to everyone. So that's the difference between a right, something that we need, is something that is there to lead us, to take care of us. But a privilege is an opportunity that comes once in a lifetime. And that's what I believe the difference is.
Mrs. Franco, Indonesian, Daniel, question number 2. What is the difference between a human right and a privilege?
All right. So, like, every person in this world, every country, every nation have their own human rights. Like, we have rights to do things that we love, to express ourselves, and we have those rights to express it, like enjoy it. And the difference between the human rights and the privilege is actually I believe like everybody in this world have their own privilege, and it might be different. Like, for example, I have some privilege. Maybe Indonesia have like more this kind of thing, and you like in Poland you have like some your own privilege that may be different, but the line, the basic is like me, like Nathan and Ivan, we have the same human rights, but our privilege is different because maybe we have a lot of factors, like we live in different country, we have a different like culture and anything, but how we like embrace our privilege and use it as our what privilege as our privilege and our like our weapon to like spread kindness, spread like positive things to the world, to the community.
Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you, Ivan.
Mrs. French Netherlands, question number 2. What is the difference between a human right and a privilege?
A human right is what should be for everyone. A human right should be like what everyone desires, everyone needs. But a privilege is something that is given to a person specifically to a person that is not specifically given to another person. So, for example, a person with this nationality has more possibilities or more right to do things than a person of that nationality. So that is like not equal. So that is the difference in my opinion.
Marco, Mr. Supranational Venezuela, question number 2 for you. What is the difference between a human right and a privilege?
A human right, it's for me, it's something that you really needs to survive. For example, water, for example, food, having the proper education, and having the opportunity to have like a health security, even if you don't have the money. And a privilege, it's maybe something that can make your life easier, but it's not like, I don't know how to say, responsible is the word. Like there's like you can live without it, but it becomes easier. I don't know. I don't remember the word. For me, that's the difference. Of course, that there's countries who some privilege becomes like rights, and that's even better because that allows people and society to keep growing, to keep evolving. But it's like a model that the other countries who maybe hasn't the opportunity, like trying to follow. For example, in Europe, the social security is very good. My grandma had to travel from Venezuela to Portugal to take care of cancer and all this stuff, and she didn't pay every single paying is a cent,
Yeah.
a single cent, and I took that as a lesson. Like we can do that. I know this economy is going to be tough, but if we don't preserve like the health and the stuff, people start to seem like, this is a privilege. It's not. If we are not healthy, we are not like being able to keep working and keep sharing with our families, it's going to be tough. So that's the difference for me.
Thank you, Marco.
Thanks, Evan.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. There's just one more question to go. Before we move on, let me remind our audience that you guys can support your favorite candidates and help them advance to the top of the Mr. Supranational 2024 experience. Check out the description box below this video. The voting goes on in the SUPRA app, so make sure you have it on your device and vote for your favorites. Mr. Supranational Thailand, question number 3, and your time to answer it. And I really love this one.
Okay.
Is it okay to limit immigration if a country is worried it will lose its culture?
Culture is something that is so important. I think it unites people together. However, nowadays, I think we have to adapt with the world because the immigration issue is the problem and an issue for so many countries. We have to also think about the human rights and also to think about the rights of the people, the quality of the living of the local people in the country. So balancing, I think, is the key. You can take in immigrations and you cannot, or you can take in at a certain level. I think this depends on the context and the situation in each country. However, I really do hope that the culture of the local people can be reserved and can stay there as long as possible because it unites people together. Balancing everything can lead us to success in this issue.
For sure. Joe, thank you very much for brilliant answers and good luck in Super Chat finals.
Thank you so much.
Supranational Mexico, Said, question number 3 for you, and your time to answer it. Is it okay to limit immigration if a country where immigrants come to is worried that it will lose its culture because of immigrants?
I consider myself a citizen of the world. I'm really proud to be Mexican. I'm really proud to my culture. But first of all, I'm more proud to be a human being. And I think we are the same people around the world. We have our culture, but I think all the cultures around the world and all the places and all the countries is to everyone to share the culture, to learn and to share between us, among us. And it's about globalization. Nowadays, globalization is a reality, is happening in all the world. So you can stop immigration. We can develop better laws and programs to help countries to other countries to have that problems in his areas, that movement of people, immigration. Like, for example, in Mexico to US or Latin America to US, develop together better laws or programs to stop the movement, because they comes with a lot of problems of economy problems and social problems. But I don't think the real problem is to lose the cultural things. I think you can be more rich if you mix all the cultures and learn and put in practice in the normal life all the cultures around the world. To me, it's a better world like that.
For sure. Thank you very much, Said, and good luck on Super Chat Finals. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Supranational South Africa, Fazil, question number 3. Is it okay to limit immigration if a country where immigrants come to is worried that it will lose its culture because of immigrants?
I think it's a sensitive talking point, because I'm somebody who also loves my culture. I'm Zulu. I'm always going out there talking about how I love Zulu people, but I also love my country, and then I love my continent, and then I love the world. So when you see it in that perspective, it's not just almost insulary, kind of holding this one thing. If you think about us on a global scale, then you really have to consider that some other people might not have the privileges that we might have in the country that we have. And sometimes they need to be helped or assisted, or in cases of war, even housed for a certain period so that they can be protected. And as I said, a human right, safety, freedom, ability to have food, sustenance is the most key thing. So when it comes down to it, for me, I always say, yes, culture is amazing. And I think we're all going to be custodians. We all hold it in our hearts. But when it comes to the human existence and the human experience, I will take anybody who I feel needs it and needs a leg up to be able to live the best possible life that they can. And passing it forward is always a good thing in my book.
Brilliant. Thank you, Fazil.
Thank you so much.
And good luck in Super Chat Finals.
Thank you, Ivan.
Thank you. Mr. Supranational Jamaica, Jermaine, question number 3. Is it okay to limit immigration if a country is worried it will lose its culture?
In Jamaica, we have a motto that says, out of many, one people. And it is within that motto that we built our culture. It's that motto that our culture was established, and it is now shared to the world. I believe that immigrants who immigrate to other countries, they go there probably for survival, for better opportunities, for a chance to make a life of their own. And I believe in going to any other country, you're going to get involved in whatever the culture is of that country. You're going to learn, and that is going to eventually become a part of you. So I believe that the culture, it expands. The culture of the country that immigrants are going to, when they get there, the culture is really going to expand, because this is an opportunity for other persons to learn what it is that you have to offer, and to experience it for themselves, and not just to confine it, but to take it throughout the world. So I believe that I don't think it limits it in any way. I don't think it is right to kind of restrict immigrants from coming into the country because of that. Because if we're a country, then we are supposed to be inviting to other persons. And when we invite them into our own space, we get to share what is most important to us, what makes us who we are. And I believe in doing so, we expand our culture instead of limiting it or restricting it because we want to limit the persons who come into our country. So I believe that no, it shouldn't be like that. We should allow persons to come in, experience, and then not just experience it, but take it out and share it with everybody.
Mrs. Bravo Indonesian, Daniel, question number 3. Is it okay to limit immigration if a country is worried it will lose its culture?
I think like every country have their own rules and obligation to limit or not limit the immigration. But I think culture will stay in that country, and it can be their like yeah, it's a culture. It's like their foundation, their heritage, their beautiful of the country. And for example, let me tell a bit about my country, Indonesia. Like Indonesia is a beautiful archipelago country. We have a lot of culture, religion, and anything, and it's so diverse. And we're not have like the same culture, but we're all different person, but we're united in Indonesia. And there's one line in one sentence in Indonesia tell like Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. It's berbeda-beda. It's we are all different, but we are one. Tapi kita satu. And yeah, I think we should not like limit immigrants to like we're afraid because the culture will lose their authenticity. And yeah, but we can like manage it with well, like you know, like today's world is technologies are growing, and something we can still manage and manage those culture, those like heritage for our own country.
For sure, brilliant answer.
Thank you, Ivan.
Yeah, thank you, Nathaniel. And
you.
congratulations. Russian Netherlands, question number 3. Is it okay to limit immigration if a country is worried it will lose its culture?
No, I don't think it's right, because if the country is worrying about it, it could make a plan to cultivate its culture by keeping these, taking these immigrants into the culture and teaching them everything that our culture has. So I don't think it's right. And if there are enough houses and jobs available for them, then why should there be a problem?
This is for National Venezuela, Marco. Question number 3. Is it okay to limit immigration if a country is worried it will lose its culture?
That questions touch like a personal fiber because I'm from Venezuela, but my grandparents went from Portugal, and they were running away from the war, and they were like really, really, really humble. They traveled to Portugal to Venezuela in a boat. It took like it took very, very long time to go there, and they start like with nothing. You know, it's kind of sad to say, but it's become happier because they work a lot and they had the opportunity in Venezuela to reach what they want, to have a family, to make business, to like form that the will like want in life, you know.
Yeah.
And if a country limits the immigrants, I don't think it would lose the culture. It's the opposite, because the culture, the person from other countries has the opportunity to make richer your own culture. For example, in Venezuela, we had the opportunity to not only receive the Portuguese immigrants, Italians, Spains, people from Europe, after that, people from Africa. And I truly believe that the culture of a nation is not risk for another's. We all like need to create a like this global culture. What the main point of it is like being like nice person, you know, because if you respect each other, if you feel comfortable with your own traditions, with your own stuff, there's no problem that you learn something new. For example, here we have like 40 countries, and I'm trying to, some of the guys bring candies and stuff and rewards. Actually, Laos give us like a thing for our keys. I don't know, remember the word, and that's awesome because you learn from other cultures, and it becomes like you get richer. So for me, it's not like an option to limit it. The immigration is the opposite. We have to promote it, and like, yeah, like that allows people to meet and to evolve and probably get a better society.
For sure. Thank you, Marco, and
Thanks, Ivan.
congratulations again, and good luck in Super Chat Finals. That's it. We'll be calling it today. Thank you very much to our finalists. Different opinions, different ideas, but equally brilliant. Thank you, guys. Before we call it a day, let me once again remind our audience that you can help your favorite candidate advance to the top of the Mr. Supranational 2024 experience. Vote for them in the Mr. Supranational. Vote for them in the SUPRA app. The voting is in the description box below this video, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.